Hi, I'm Dale Jarrett, and here are three things I will be watching for at Charlotte, Indy, and yes, even Monaco this weekend on what is arguably the greatest day in motorsports. And number one on my list has to be Kyle Larson. What a phenomenal job this young man has done going to Indianapolis and qualifying in the top five for his first ever Indy 500 start. It's just been amazing to watch. We all know the talent that he has. We've seen him drive anything and everything over the years. Obviously, he has that championship in the Cup Series, just able to do so much. Will be fun to watch him navigate through this. Can he put 500 miles together? I believe that he can. And can he be a factor in the Indianapolis 500? There's no doubt in my mind. He has the talent to do it. I believe he runs in the top five, which if you're able to do that, gives you a chance to win at the end. We'll be pulling for him and watching him as he goes along. So then he's going to try to go to Charlotte and maneuver 600 miles at Charlotte Motor Speedway in the Coca-Cola 600. This is a race that he won back in 2021, leading 327 laps and dominating that race. Not sure he's going to be up for that. As far as getting it done, it is physically and mentally challenging race, and especially coming off one where you've just run in your first Indianapolis 500, providing that the weather is going to cooperate in Indy for him to make all of this happen. He has earned the most points on mile-and-a-half tracks so far in 2024. He has 11 straight leads in the races on mile-and-a-half tracks. And so he's always around. He has 21 stage wins since 2021. Closest competitor to that, his teammate William Byron with just 5. So to say that Larson is the favorite, probably an understatement, but a huge undertaking and a big day for Kyle Larson in his career to make it happen. We'll be watching and pulling for him through it all. Number two on my list, just the 600 miles at Charlotte. This is incredibly tough for these drivers. It's a hard racetrack to begin with, but you start this race sometime around 6, just after 6 p.m. Eastern time in Charlotte. The temperatures are going to be in the mid to high 80s. So the racetrack is going to be hot and slick at the start of this 600-mile race. It's not one that, as a driver, that you can kind of sit back and relax as part of it because you'll find yourself in trouble quickly. But it is a grueling test of driver and machine. You go through this. You have to be careful not to be thinking and watching and wondering how much longer you have during this race. And getting through the first part is critical. And I will tell you that who you see running up front, leading laps at the beginning of this race on this hot slick track may not be who you'll see at the end of the race. But we see plenty of action throughout the race, throughout the night. And for these drivers, as this race goes on and you're getting a little fatigued physically and mentally, you're going to be running your fastest laps towards the end of this race. And obviously, that's the time that it comes to win. So it is a real test of these cars and these drivers. And who can put all of that together will be very happy at the end in holding that trophy. I know that in my win in 1996, the race was delayed by rain, and we didn't end till well after midnight that night. Hopefully that's not something they encounter in Charlotte, but it is still a very, very difficult race for these drivers and even the pit crews because there will be a lot of pit stops throughout. Should be an interesting 600-mile race. Number three, you can't overlook what took place at North Wilkesboro Speedway last weekend. Obviously, I know that was a short track, different type of racing, no points involved, but Ricky Stenhouse and Kyle Busch, you can see having words led to fisticuffs. Not something that we see all the time, but it just shows you the passion these drivers have for what they do. Will there be payback on Sunday at Charlotte? We're talking speeds at 200 miles per hour at the end of these straightaways. So I don't really think that's something we're going to see. I know that talk has been there. Richard Childress has voiced his opinion if Ricky Stenhouse should wreck Kyle Busch as to what he might do. I really don't see that happening. The main thing is that we can't overlook these two drivers and their performances recently in the Coke 600. Kyle Busch has finished sixth or better in the last 7 Coke 600. He won this race in 2018, so he is always a factor in the race. And Ricky Stenhouse maybe one of his best tracks aside from the super speedways that we see at Daytona and Talladega, where he is always a factor. But he's finished top 15 in 7 of the last 8 Coke 600s, and he's finished 7th the last 2 600s. So they may be racing around each other because this is one of their best tracks. I really believe they just race hard, race clean, and probably both have good 600-mile races. Yeah, others to watch, as we've talked about Larson being the favorite and what might happen with others. But Chase Elliott, this has been one of his best tracks also. Top 5 in 5 of the last 8 Coke 600s, and he's been second in 2 of the last 4. This has probably been his best start to a season also, especially since his championship run. Let's keep an eye on him and see if he can go on this 1.5-mile track and conquer these 600 miles. Tyler Reddick, another driver that having a great season, but he's finished top 10 in all 4 of his starts here at Charlotte. So a track that he really enjoys. And of course, William Byron for Hendrick Motorsports is someone you can't ever overlook. He has 3 wins in night races along in the next gen car, along with Denny Hamlin. Speaking of Denny, he and his teammate Martin Truex Jr., 2 of the very best at the Coke 600 and this Charlotte Motor Speedway. Should be a great weekend. I said we were going to talk about all 3. Can anybody beat Max Verstappen? We'll see at Monaco. Always a great race. Got to be up early and ready to watch that. Then at Indy with Kyle Larson and what he can do and who's going to be the Indy 500 champion. And then for 600 miles at Charlotte. Great weekend of motorsports and racing. Hope you enjoy your Sunday of racing. And remember to honor our veterans on this Memorial Day weekend.
Hi, I'm Parker Kligerman. For more access like this from Pit Road, be sure to click and subscribe to the Motorsports on NBC YouTube channel.